Let's get into it. Grad show. Oh, I've been doing this thing for years, dude. Years. Okay, we begin with Light Eagle 22, who has gone up one. Doesn't have anything to say, doesn't have a dojo score. Let's see what's going on here. This might be 51 years old from Australia. Okay. One of the things, let's see here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a slight jadoop to this situation over here. So let's move it this way. Wait. Wrong one, buddy. Wrong one. There we go. We're going to... Oh, don't be a jerk. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, my God. Look at this. This is all a disaster. Hold on. Cry. Oh. Okay. Look, buddy. We're going to move it over here. That way we can see a good deal more of what their hours worked and such is. And for this particular person, no hours worked. But I just want to say what's interesting now about the dojo program is I was doing it a little differently for just personally. I was, kind of tallying in my mind how many hours I was doing. And I do it like at the end of the week. So for example, now I'm going over games. I would give a rough estimation of how many hours it took me to go over a game. And then I'd put it in. And then with the heat map, it's a really interesting thing of how technology influences you. With the heat map, now I'm like, wait a second. It would be good for me to see which days I worked and which days I didn't. Just be interesting. Anyways, so that's what we're dealing with here. And Light Eagle here, just joined like a week ago. So we're probably not going to see all too much. He's at the 50 plus, dude. Nice. Okay. We got some activity, no activity, games, nothing. Okay. So Light Eagle, welcome to the dojo, bud. All right. Next up is Zogo. Also doesn't have anything written up yet. Let's take a look at Zogo. I have a feeling this is a similar situation. We're going to follow Zogo. Zogo doesn't have, he got here in February of this year, but doesn't have anything yet done. So, okay. I think some people, they've joined the dojo. And, there's levels of engagement. We have power users, and then I guess we have people like Zogo. He's been here since February, and he's making some progress, but he's not really using the site, right? Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have Gil. Gil's done some work. Let's take a look. We're going to follow Gil here. Gil joined, just last week. That's what happens when you join the dojo, bud. You're going to get this line. Look at that line. Straight. That's a straight line, buddy. And also, actually, it's really cool. I can show you the hours worked here. Let's see. Hold on. I got to go here. This could be a little bigger on my part, I guess, but I just want to show that Gil... Come on, Kraai. I want you to show. I know what's going on. God, it's really hard, isn't it? Gil here. Oh, God, it's really painful. Oh, God, Gil, help me. There we go. So you can see Gil, like me, has now gotten related. Actually, that's not true. I mean, Gil just joined the site. But Gil there, you can see, has started doing every day, joined the 19th, so less than a week ago, and has gone straight up. So that's the way it is, dude. Welcome to the dojo. All right, now I think I have a plan. I can bring that back for the next person now, even though I can't fit quite everything on the screen. Okay, so let's take a little bit more look at Gil here. Gil has done some tactics tests. He just got here, got a tactics rating of 1210, amazing. Checkmate test of 628, amazing. So His tactics suggest that he is doing better than his rating. He's in Europe. Gil, tell us something about yourself, boss. You know, tell us where you are, how old you are, whatever you want to tell us about yourself. I don't know. You could tell us you could collect weird cats or something. I don't know. Over here in the States, buddy, we're eating the cats and the dogs. We're eating them. And you can see Gil is doing a lot of tactics here. Did the tactics test? Beautiful. Okay, does Gil have a game? He does. Okay, let's check it out. By the way, very impressive to just show up and do that much work, you know? And it showed, like the rating went up. Okay, now, Kraai has to remember to switch scenes. Boom. And let's see here, we do have I'll just briefly show the time graph. Now, the game ends pretty quickly, so even though both players didn't use that much time overall, you know, if you're only going to go 18, 19 moves, it does look like both sides are playing. I believe, I'm very certain actually, that the person he is playing, Angazabab, is part of the dojo. Okay, so here we go. This is Gil. Fine. A6. Now, you know, he just gave you a tempo, so it can't be that great. Good move. And bishop g6. Looks like it losing a tempo. Correct. So what you should say to yourself now is that you are up several tempi. Okay? In fact, let's learn how to count them. Black owes you a pawn move. Okay? So that's -1. So really we're going to say they just have, if we count these as 2, and we get -1, black is 1. We, on the other hand, have 1, 2, 3, plus 1 because it's our move. So we're up 3 whole tempi here. Good move. Good move. Knight c6, bishop g6. I thought I can give him double pawns and then the e5 square as an outpost, but didn't see that he can just take with the h pawn, which also opens the h file. Now, it's got to be said that that h file isn't going to crush you anytime soon. Okay? So I wouldn't worry about that. What is a challenge, though, here, this would be a challenge for me as well, is you've got your pieces developed in a, you know, you're very quick, but it's not clear what to do now. You can notice this knight's a little jammed. Yeah, and it's not just entirely clear what to do. So I would say the moves that make sense, the move that I think you should default to, actually, is just queen e2. Okay, it's a developing move, connecting the rooks, and we'll see what he does. Maybe we'll play e4 next, maybe. But the most important thing is we're like, well, I don't know what to do, so what am I going to do? I'm going to develop, right? Okay, I don't think there's a double question mark. In general, double question mark would be something where you're losing the game. This one I don't like because that knight was already developed. So now black is catching up on development. Knight e2. My plan here is to eventually take the knight to h4. Didn't really think he'd trade. Now notice that what's happening here is you have lost all of your tempo advantage. I'm back. I'm sorry about this. We had, you're still on time. You blew it here, buddy. You guys, no one told me the game review thing here. The board, Blibub's telling me the board. Oh, man. Krai's not the smartest, buddy. Krai's not the smartest. All right, I'm going to give a brief recap to this little show. And that is that white started with a beautiful time advantage all the way up to here. We said it was up 3 tempi, and this is where I was giving my long speech about queen e2 being the development move you should default to. Instead, this is not the horrendous one. It's really this one, because here you give up time, and now you give up more time. And what I was saying was that it's when you give up time that your opponent gets a tactical chance. And that's what happens now. Boom, 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 with a nice little double attack. And so now we're down a pawn. H3, queen d4, and now he blunders knight f3. No, 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 that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. So black just is getting really fancy, but it ain't gonna happen. All right, so Pop, thank you very much for the knight. And now you just need to be a little careful. One reason I know you're not getting mated here is your knight is a brilliant defender, and it's an extra piece. So your default solution should be king g2 followed by knight g3. King g2, and then we'll trade off the rooks. This rook is not involved. We're going to nail him on the h-file. Completely done. Completely done. Now, I do want to say normally at this level you're playing at, what we're going to encounter is people giving away material for nothing. They just missed it. I think actually black probably saw it and you believed him. You were like, oh, that's genius, knight f3. Yeah. Hanging. So it's a different kind of hanging pieces. Yeah. All right, here we go. So knight f4, check to the miserable king. Knight g2, queen h6. And now we have a simple question, are we toast? You say queen a4 double question mark. You might be toast here. I don't see at least an easy way out for you. Now it looks toast. So I don't think you should give queen a4 a double question mark. You also give rook ad1 a double question mark, but you know, you're getting mated. I don't know how you get out of mate. Wait a second, Kraai. It's not true. So wait a second. I trusted you. When you have a double question mark, it means that you think there's a move you could have done better, right? But isn't the move knight f4? Right? And now he could repeat probably what black needs to do, but rook h1 isn't it? There's no queen h3. Okay, so what that means, and this is very important for the analysis. By the way, you know, you're just new here and you're doing a great analysis. But it also means in this position, it's muy importante for black to play b5. Because on c6, you could have played knight f4 and you're still in the game. I think black has to repeat moves after knight f4 with queen g5, knight g2, queen h6, and we get a draw. And just in general, when you're up a piece and it's some kind of defending knight, it's usually not going to work out for the guy. I think Oscar Chess is saying something kind of dumb. Not kind of dumb. He's making you seem kind of dumb, Kraai. Oh, man, I've just been blowing it all the time over here. Oscar Chess is like, hey, Kraai, isn't that mate? That's why I lost those blitz games earlier. Something's wrong with my mind. Something's wrong with the mind, dude. Yeah. So Oscar Chess, thank you for saving that one. You saved me, buddy. You saved me. Okay. Good. So we're going to say then that, let's see, we're still totally winning here. And after knight f4, I guess we are actually, surprisingly, toast. And we needed to play king g2. And also, I want to give you props that you did think for 5 minutes on knight f4. You got it wrong, but it's like thinking 5 minutes shows that you saw that there was something to think about. Knight g3 is also completely winning. You know. Yeah. Okay. And also queen g4, totally winning. Okay, good. Well done. And pop. That was embarrassing, Oscar. That's a little embarrassing, buddy. Now we got to change this here. All right. So next up is, how do you guys want to say it? Samiska. Samiska says, several observations from this cohort. A. Reaching 850 was more difficult. Games are mostly still decided by tactics and checkmates, but I often had to sweat for it. Okay. Looking at my game's blatant blunders are still the deciding factor when I win or lose. Yeah. And I would say that's going to be the case until you hit 1,000. Openings have generally become much more solid, and the action is in the middle game. B. Summer was slow as expected, and I had less time to spend on dojo-suggested activities such as annotating, peer reviews, and checkmate tactics tests. I will need to catch up on those as they immediately impact my chess. C. I managed to finish everyone's first chess workbook on Chessable and slowly move through Polgar. I actually want to say, one of the things that we discovered at the dojo was the dojo was definitely far less active in the summer. We didn't really expect that, because we're chess all the time. But it really was the case that dojo activity really lulled in the summer. I'm assuming vacations, people doing things, not on their regular routine. Still, a little bit surprising. C, I managed to finish everyone's first chess workbook and slowly move through Polgar. Nice. I also, this is interesting. This is the mark of someone totally serious. I also acquired a DGT board and played live a couple of 30-minute games and will probably not be going back to digital for longer games. I have a much better feel for the positions. Now, I think when he says digital, I think he means like directly online in front of the screen. And he means rather he'll use his DGT board. And that's really interesting to me. I feel like one of the things we're pushing at the dojo is for people to play online, over the board. But we understand that a lot of people first started to learn to play the game online, and then it's hard for them to go play a tournament, But a DGT board, you're going to sit there right there. You're going to get so much more out of it. You're still going to be people who are themselves distracted online. But hey, that's just a competitive advantage for you at that point. Okay, Samiska, looking good. Let's click. Samiska did a bunch of work. We're going to follow Samiska. 608, ChessCom Rapid. All right, looking good. And there you see their chart. Actually, I think I'm better at showing this now. So if you look at their chart, all of August, like they said, was gone. So it was like some kind of August holiday was going on there. Okay, so we got some checkmate tests. We need the tactics tests, right? Okay, let's take a look at the clubs. Oh, that's me too, buddy, the dads and moms. Activity, looking good. All right, let's click on that tactics. Right, everyone's first chess workbook. Beautiful. And now we're going to go games. We got one game. Pop. Let's go see how it looks. Actually, first, the clock usage. Can you guys see that? I might have to show the clock graph. So, let's assume for a second that this was a game played on the DGT. He might tell us in the notes. What do we see? We see that he used his time and his opponent did not. Okay? His opponent did not. And so one of the things to just be aware of as you use your DGT board is you're going to be playing players who are essentially, not everybody, but a lot of players like this person who is essentially handicapping themselves by not thinking. Oftentimes you're playing online there, and there's so many distractions that it's very hard to really think. And so a solution to that kind of distraction is just to move immediately, right? Is basically close to what happened here with black. In any case, I'm very happy that you used the time here. And, it doesn't mean that we're going to win all the time against these players. They might, in fact, be chess geniuses, but it does mean that we have a strong competitive advantage. Okay, so here we go. This is our correct screen. So this is the first 30 classical games I played online and I really enjoyed. Okay, So, pop. Good chess so far by both sides. Then bad chess. Okay, not a developing move. Castles. G5, not a developing move. And now you played knight e5. And I'm not thrilled with knight e5 because it's moving a developed piece twice. So let's pause for a second and just think about what would the plausible moves look for us, right? C4 looks reasonable. Knight c3 looks reasonable. And white's up in so much time that even the wild e4 looks kind of interesting, saying that if they take, we'll gain more time. That would be a gambit, right? Okay, so knight e5, your opponent completely blunders. By the way, are they thinking? No. No. And by the way, you're not just winning the exchange, my friend. You are winning a piece and the exchange. F6, blundericious. All right, knight g6, thank you very much. Thank you very much. C6, okay. And now you play c4. Now, c4 to me is a little abstract. And right now you're up with a piece and an exchange. And we really want to think about hurting black. And the natural move, I think, is e4 because then we're threatening to bring the lady out here. And it's important to say that we really want to defend our knight. You know. Also, we would like to open the position and mate black. Okay, c4. Knight a6. Queen a4. Okay. And then the knight c7. Let's just say these are all things to do with missing tactics. Knight c7 would win the bishop. You say thank you very much. King f7, good move. And now c5. I think it's okay. Yeah, because you have this idea. Now, does he have rook g7? I think he does. Okay, but now he's giving you knight e5, and you say thank you very much. You say, all right, I'll develop. Very nice. Oh, I like, now we're gonna, you know, talk about this a little bit more, but on principle, there might be a problem with this move, but on principle, I like it a lot because I want you to break this dude open and mate them. Good. D6. And then you impulsively hanged your knight. Okay. So we're at move 19. You still have plenty of time. Yeah, you just need to move the knight away. C4, D3 doesn't really matter. Bishop D2. You're still winning, of course. E5. Not a good move because he's giving your knight the square. You said thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so now you're winning, and you're definitely in a little time pressure here. Good. Oh, now you just got to run, Forrest, run. Run, Forrest, run. I don't know about that. Good. He's going nowhere. Thank you very much. Very good. And now we need to mate quickly. Boom. Oh, no. Oh. Stalemate. Wait. But it's not stalemate. It's your move. Tough result, but nevertheless, I am satisfied. It was a good game in which I really thought harder than ever and tried to calculate outcomes. I like longer time controls, need to work on time management and mating endgames. Good. Good. I don't know how this was stalemate because you have mate in one here with bishop f6. But somehow it was stalemate. Somehow, I don't know, a move is missing. You played king c4 or something. Yeah. Okay. That was good. This person you're playing, right? We want you to wail on this person all the time, right? They're not thinking, they're hanging their pieces, and you did, for the most part, have them put away. And it was really just the time that got you. But yes, you'll get better at it. And also when you're playing these chumps, it's important not to get freaked out by the fact that they're playing so fast. Okay, up next. We were just talking about Amgazabab. We saw a game of his earlier where he won against, I believe it was Gil. And, Kraai, fix the scene, buddy. Come on now. And Amgazabab says, first week with the cohort change due to the changes proposed by Dojo. We graduated from 5,600 after 4 classical games. Next week, we enter the 600 to 700 cohort, a cohort in which we are supposed to have already graduated, but we will do it again. This time, well done with the classical Lichess rating. Let's take a look. So, Amgazabab was already up to 800, 900, and then he went back down. One thing we'll just say here is, so you probably already know this, but we knew that we had to redo our rating translator because FIDE did their massive boost. When we ran the numbers, more specifically, Knows All ran the numbers, he discovered that the Lichess ratings, since we did our first rating translator, were wildly inflated. Probably someone understands, but I don't understand why Lichess starts everybody out at 1,500. Doesn't matter who you are, they just start you out of that rating. And that's created a situation where the inflation is just out of hand. Okay, so Amgazabab has done some tests, looking good, especially with those tactics tests and the checkmate tests. All right, good. Clubs. All right, over there in Mexico, Amgazabab. Nice. I would love to see Amgazabab make a nice 1,000. Ooh, and then look at Amgazabab over here, my friends. Look at this. Bang. Wait, you just go like that. Look at that heat map, dude. There was what we're talking about, buddy. Amgazabab is bringing it. There we go. Okay. Amgazabab, well done. Let's look activity. 63 hours of work, 100 points, lots going on. Let's click around a little bit. So we got everyone's first chess workbook. We got a touch of mate in twos. We got the tactics test. Looking great, man. Looking great. Okay. So then we'll go back and let's just see. Let's just click around. So we got master games. Endgame, we got some the algorithms done. Well done. Okay. That's all we need. Now, games. Oh, well, here's let's see this one just because it'll be Amgazabab's take on the game that we just saw. So we will mark this as reviewed and we will go to game review. So game at 3015 with a dojo partner, the first Spanish-speaking person I've met here. Much easier to carry out the postmortem. Great. Yeah. I think, by the way, that you could do the annotations in Spanish. Now, I'm not my Spanish, I'm like an 850, you know? I'm like an 850. So I'd probably read it and mispronounce it really bad and stuff, but I could follow it, especially if it's about chess. So it is possible to do this in your native language, and we have people doing it in Dutch, all kinds of stuff. So here we go. Bishop f5, e3, bishop a6. I have doubts about this move. This is great because remember his opponent said this was an excellent. I have doubts about this move. I break with the basic principles of the opening. Perhaps I should have continued developing pieces. But with a6, I intend to take away the option of check and the development of his bishop along this diagonal. Okay, good. Now, let's say something. As we see in the game, Gil has a real problem figuring out what to do with his knight, right? And it ends up actually being his downfall. So I don't like a6 from an aesthetic point of view because I prefer development, but I think it's ultimately fine. The move I would like, though, is e6, and we're just going to meet knight b5 with bishop d6, right? And we're doing great. We're doing absolutely great. Okay, so a6, bishop d3, bishop g6. Let's read what you write. Here I plan to take his bishop, since I consider it to be his good bishop. So I think he meant he planned to take it. But after thinking about it for a while, I conclude that it's better to spend some time taking it to g6, so that if he decides to take it, I can open the h-file for the rook. I think this is one of the basic decisions that will lead me to win this game. In the postmortem, Gil and I agreed on this. Now, what's interesting is you do end up, it is the h-file that ultimately gets him. But what's interesting is that, in my experience in general, it's not such an amazing thing, mostly because eventually black is going to have to castle short themselves. Okay, so I am with this. But then the question becomes, was there another move that he could have done? And a move that I'm a little partial to, though it has its own drawbacks, is e6. I have to make that move anyway, and if you take, I'll get a nice grip on the square, and we're gonna proceed from there, right? I'm developing. It's faster. e6, good move. Castles, knight c6. Now, something I want to stress here is that I don't think knight c6 is terrible, but what is true is that I just want you to see that now the pawn can't participate in the central fight, kind of like the way white blocked their pawn on c2. So I just want you to see that. A more flexible move, I would say, is if you're going to go bishop d6, do it now. Yeah, do it now. And of course, you could probably get away with this move as well, just following that up here. So bishop takes, and you also give it a question mark. I want to stress the first big mistake on white's part I see is knight e5, right? Why? Because it's moving a developed piece twice. As I said in the previous analysis, queen e2 makes a lot of sense. Bishop d6, okay, good. And now here, I think we have to give knight e2 a question mark, right? Because really anything we do besides knight e2 is going to be fine. Notice again, he has a problem with this knight, right? He has a problem with this knight. He could play h3. He could play queen f3, queen e2. As long as he doesn't do this one, and now you play a good move, and queen d4, and you play knight f3, and you write. The most critical moment of the game. Even now, I think it's a bad sacrifice. It is, even though it won me the game. I thought a lot about it. I considered other options that I now write below. Even though it worked, I still have my doubts. Now, you don't write it below. Maybe you originally did or something. I think the easy move to play would be like queen f6. Yeah, that's the easy move to play. You're up a pawn. You have great center control. And actually, after queen f6, maybe they have to worry about a rook h3 or something like that. Okay, so knight f3. Question. By the way, this is the double question mark, okay? A double question mark move is when the valuation of the position completely flips, okay? And in accuracy, well, not the end of the world. That would be like a question mark, exclam. A question mark is like you probably missed something and things are going bad. Double question mark, boom, blunder, game over, and that's what knight f3 is. And knight f4, definitely a mistake. And you mentioned king g2, great. And queen g4 is winning, knight g3 is winning, right? Notice on knight g3, there's really no queen h4 because white will just exchange the queens. Okay, so knight f4, check, good move. Queen h6, and now he's in big, big trouble. We didn't find anything, of course, and then I guess it's over. Mate. Yeah, that was really interesting to see the game from both players' perspectives. Super cool that you guys did the postmortem together. And so I want to say I strongly, if you guys get along talking Spanish, I strongly encourage you to continue doing that. You could do it with so many things throughout the program too. The sparring positions, for example, the middle game, end game. When you think about classic games, you could do that together, right? Any kind of books, especially later when it gets a little bit more involved. You could, say, we're both going to get up there, we're going to read these classic chess books together, right? Really good. I grew up in an age before the internet, and I grew up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and this Mexican kid came up, Julian Estrada Nieto, now an IM, and we just played all the time, dude, all the time. So that was that's a bygone age. The kids don't even know what I'm talking about when I say there was no internet. They don't even know what I'm saying. All right, so that was great. All right, Lee. Let's click on Lee. Lee, I don't know what's going on with Lee. So we're going to give Lee a follow. And the normalized rating is below 700. Joined May 1st. Well, okay, here we go. He has done some work just recently. I can see that on our... Oh, Kraai, thank you very much. This whole time I was talking and no one told me. No one told. That was your fault, Nose. That was your fault. You didn't tell me, buddy. You didn't tell me about it. Okay, so how bad was it? It was kind of bad, but I've done far more egregious ones. There's supposed to be a thing, Nose, where you can yell at me. I don't know how to do it, but DM Hokey has a thing where you can have a voice come out of my screen that says something like, yo, Kraai, and that's what we need. I put that on my list of things to do. Okay, so as I said, I can show you a little bit. Is this bigger? I won't necessarily see it. If I'm looking at a game, I'm intent, I'm all in, I might not necessarily see it. There you can see the recent work that Lee has done. Okay, so we want Lee to do a lot of things here. I have a feeling Lee hasn't done much. Oh, he's done a little bit, 2 hours of work. Let's see if we got a game from Lee. No game. So Lee, it's obvious you just, maybe, here's my theory. This heat map, I'm really hoping will get people into the mindset of I got to do something often. Not necessarily every day, but I need to see the yellow. Okay? So let's go to Lee again. And I'm going to, at some point later, I'm going to do my own. So I need to see the yellow on a consistent basis. And it's affecting me too. It's affecting me as well. I'm starting to get it I want to see, now that it's there, it's not just for vanity, but I want to see it for myself. I want to see okay, I'm gonna just log this every day that I do something, and then I want to see what are the patterns, what does it look like? Okay. The other thing I really want to do, actually, and there's so many dojo projects, and a lot of times it's just we have a great idea and then Jack has to do the tech side of it, which is just so much harder than the idea itself. But we want it to be you tell us how many hours a day or a week that you want to do. And then the colors will correspond to you having done said thing or not having done said thing, or the degree to which you have done said thing, right? All right, these are just things in the dojo. All right, let's move on. Next up, we got Jimmy. Jimmy's also not saying much. Might be a similar thing here. So, boom. And we got Jimmy. And let's look at Jimmy's heat map. I'm loving this heat map thing. So you can see in August, he had a couple days, September. So hopefully Jimmy will start, start getting it going. All right, Jimmy has not done any tactics tests or anything like that. I'm going to give him a follow. And let's say clubs, no clubs, activity, a little touch, and no games, no rows. Okay, Jimmy, I have a feeling with this heat map, you're going to get back on it, bud. And you've got a nice little progress going on with the ChessCom Rapid. But, obviously, you use the program as it's meant to be used, and you will continue your upward flight. Okay, one more today, and this is the famous Kevin Sheehan. I'll tell you why he's famous in a second, but let's read. David. Well, David will review you later, bud. Thanks for the really kind words while reviewing my games on the graduation show. I decided to take your advice. David did it last week, by the way, and move myself up to the 1011 cohort. I would love to upload the games I play on Chess Club VR, but there is no good way to do it besides taking off the headset every handful of moves, or remembering all the moves perfectly and writing them out after the game. I'll be trying one of those options. In any case, thanks for all that you do. The Chess Dojo community is such an incredible community led by 3 wonderful people who give up so much of their time to help us out. Thank you, Kevin. So, first of all, Kevin is famous because he is doing this virtual reality thing. And it probably sounds obscene to you, but let me just describe what's going on. If you haven't heard of it before, it might seem obscene. So there's all kinds of these virtual reality rooms that are happening on Meta. I'm sure there's other places besides Meta where they're going down, but let me just describe the chess scene of it, right? So you go in there, and Kevin turned me on to it, and so I looked into it a little bit. And you can find videos online, and Kevin's in there. Kevin's like the voice. And so you have an avatar, and you sit down there with the board. You got your VR goggles on, and you're playing this game. And I haven't done it yet. It's on my to-do list. But what I want to say about this, interesting, is kind of like the way we have a DGT board for somebody who doesn't want to get sucked into the online world while they're playing their game. I think the interesting thing about the VR goggles is maybe it's possible then for me to really sit there and get into the game, right, without being distracted. Maybe, I don't have VR, but I assume, it's going to hit us, all of it. Well, maybe all of us will be having at least the access to one of those VR headsets soon. So I'm watching Kevin as like an experiment. It seems like a definite tech bummer that you can't get your game afterwards. And so, I know, Kevin, that you are active in that room. I'm sure it's technologically possible to have a way to grab the PGN of a game. I don't know how it works at the Chess Club VR, but I'm sure it's technically possible. Nose is saying, just write it down on your virtual score sheet. There you go. Okay, let's look at Kevin over here. Boom. And 95% VR. Plan on joining a chess club this fall, winter. Among many reasons, I would like to see how VR OTB translates to actual OTB and make some local chess friends. So Rapid 1845, 1890. Now, the tricky thing there is this is one of the rating systems I guess we don't have. We don't have a VR system. So there we go. But he is 10:30 on the ChessCom. Okay. So we got one tactics test done. And we got some, well, you know what? Here's a thing. Here's a task for you, Kevin. I want you to create a VR club on the dojo bows. Give me that VR club, man. That would be great. Because that would, more people would obviously join your cause. And then we could see, the dojo could see, oh, this is X amount of people are doing it. That would be amazing. Okay, so activity, lots of work, dude. But we are going to go into this current one. So 9 to 1,000. Did 23 hours of work. Non-dojo is chess media. To me, that means probably YouTube. We don't have a lot of games. I assume that was we were talking about with the game problem. And we have some tactics. That's looking good. Okay, good. And now we got, I have a feeling no games. Well, we're going to click. Oh, we got loads of games, Bobs. We got loads of games. All right, and this was just published half a second ago. This might have, well, let's see if David covered it. At least David, if he did cover it, he didn't mark it as review. Okay, clocks time's not given. Now I'm going to switch this scene. All right, here we go. So this game felt like one of the best 30-ish move and over games I've played. I've played the Caro-Kann against e4 for the last couple years. My opponent played right into a line in the advanced variation I knew very well. Okay, let's get it going. Boop, boop. Okay. So now we're going to be playing French. And probably white's best is to just go knight f3, bishop d3, and castle. Okay, so bishop e3, knight e7, knight f3, bishop c5. Good. So here, in general, white doesn't want to be exchanging stuff, and you get this exchange off. Check. This is not a good move. This is, in fact, a standard mistake that you'll see when you're playing, because now you're playing a French, where they're going to exchange off your worst piece for you. So you got to say thank you. Queen e2, and you played a6. Now, is a6 necessary? Maybe not. It is very satisfying for us to be getting that bishop. But I think faster would be here or here. And you're absolutely right. Maybe you need to look at queen a5, but I also don't see an answer to your problems after knight c3. But just develop the bishop's a chump here. We don't need to force it to do anything. Okay, castles, knight e7. Good. Knight f5. And you say this equal. Okay, I'd rather be black, but okay. Boom. Castles. Knight c4, frisky. Bang! Good move. Got him. White thinks he's being clever because I can't take the knight, but he misses queen b5. And I guess the game is over. b4, does this solve their problems? I don't think so. And you played knight e4, which looks correct. But he has this rook e1. And you write about knight d7. But doesn't this mean that our correct move would be knight a4, right? Because we just have to move the knight somewhere where it can't be molested, because we're winning the knight on c4. Now, could I have missed rook e1? Possibly. Possibly. Knight c3, but you're still winning. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, you missed knight e3. You trusted him. Right? You trusted him. Rook e4, c3. You're doing great, obviously. A good move. You say thank you, bring it back. Oh, good move. Good move. And he just resigned. Okay. Other than missing 93, I thought I played a very nice game. It was also a good lesson to slow down and keep calm in a winning position. Okay, great. Yeah. Great. And the only feedback I have on this is to notice a little bit how white got themselves in trouble. In particular, it's important, I think, to notice that trading is good for you because you have less space. So that's, unless he's going to actually win the pawn, that's no good. Then bishop b5, horrendous, like a very typical mistake, right, that you're going to see often. And then this one, it's not a terrible move, but definitely a loss of tempo, because you later say that you have an equal position. Well, you should be better here. You're killing this guy. You got all the benefits of a nice French position now. Okay, my friends, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a quick break, and then, and by the way, tomorrow, actually, let's go see what the tomorrow looks like briefly, see who we got. And then tomorrow, I am going to do the 1,000+ grad show. Right now, we're just going to take a quick look and see if we got any famous people coming up. Yeah, the famous chess punk is who we got. Okay, good. So this week, I think, is light because we demoted so many people. Noses in the chat. If you want to blame somebody for being demoted, that's the guy you go to, buddy. That's the guy. All right, I'm going to take a break. And then when I come back, I am not going to let Puzzle Rush Survival get under my skin. I'm going to take my time. And I'm going to finish the dojo requirement, buddy. I'm going to finish that. All right. So, that's right. It's the ball. All right, I'll be right back.